What if the most powerful sources of strength and healing ever discovered were not formulated in modern laboratories or sold in expensive supplement aisles, but were written right into the pages of ancient scriptures? Most people do not know this, but while we are running to the pharmacy for every ailment and relying heavily on the butcher for our protein, there are sacred plants that have fueled warriors, built empires, and healed humanity for thousands of years. These are not just spiritual symbols. These are direct medical prescriptions with real clinical evidence. Modern science has finally caught up to spectacularly prove what our ancestors always knew. Today, I am going to show you 20 superfood plants with more protein than beef. You need to stick around until the end, because number 19 is a wild pond plant currently being studied by NASA for deep space missions. And number 20 contains more protein in a single cup than a full beef steak. Hit that subscribe button right now as we connect ancient biblical wisdom with modern health science every single week. Number 1P, the underestimated garden giant. Let us begin with something so familiar it is often ignored. The humble pea has been found in archaeological digs of ancient civilizations dating back thousands of years. It was a foundational crop that sustained early agricultural societies through harsh winters and long droughts. But here is what most people miss. We look at peas as a bland side dish, a mere afterthought on a dinner plate. Modern science has caught up in a spectacular way to reveal the truth. Clinical trials have demonstrated that the protein extracted from peas contains a massive concentration of branched-chain amino acids. At the molecular level, these compounds are directly responsible for rebuilding torn muscle fibers and reducing systemic inflammation. Sports medicine researchers are now finding that pea protein rivals whey in muscle synthesis without the digestive distress or cardiovascular strain associated with heavy dairy or meat consumption. Traditionally, our ancestors dried them and slow-cooked them in thick, nutrient-dense stews that provided immediate, long-lasting cellular energy. The pea never got forgotten, but we did forget why it is a genuine healing powerhouse. It is a pure, uncorrupted source of vitality that builds the body without burdening the heart. Number 2, oats, the powerhouse of the north. Moving to the cold, harsh climates of ancient Europe, we find our next miraculous food. Oats were the primary fuel for Germanic and Nordic warriors, men who required immense physical endurance to survive brutal conditions. For centuries, it was considered the ultimate survival ration. But here is what most people miss. While modern society has reduced oats to sugary, instant breakfast packets, the raw, whole grain is a medicinal marvel. Modern science has finally caught up to prove what those ancient warriors knew in their bones. Clinical trials have isolated a specific soluble fiber in oats called beta-glucan. This compound operates like a microscopic sponge in your bloodstream, actively capturing and removing damaged cholesterol before it can attach to your arterial walls. Furthermore, whole oats are packed with unique antioxidants that specifically target and neutralize oxidative stress in the cardiovascular system. Traditionally, oats were soaked overnight to break down phytic acid, then slowly simmered into a dense, life-sustaining porridge. This was not just peasant food. This was a direct medical prescription for endurance and a profound protector of the human heart, far safer than the statin drugs pushed by modern pharmacies. Number 3. Wheat, the architect of civilization. You cannot read ancient texts or the Bible without encountering wheat. It is the literal staff of life, mentioned countless times as a symbol of divine provision and physical sustenance. The prophet Ezekiel was even given a specific recipe for bread that included wheat to sustain him through a grueling siege. But here is what most people miss. The wheat we consume today in plastic-wrapped loaves is a genetically altered, heavily processed shadow of its former self. Ancient strains of wheat, like einkorn and kamut, are completely different at the molecular level. Modern science has caught up to show that these ancient, uncorrupted grains contain significantly higher percentages of pure plant protein and lack the highly inflammatory gluten proteins found in modern dwarf wheat. Clinical trials indicate that ancient wheat supports gut health and provides a slow, steady release of energy without spiking blood sugar. Our ancestors would sprout the wheat berries, awakening dormant enzymes that made the proteins instantly bioavailable. Wheat never got forgotten, but we did forget why it was sacred. Pure, ancient wheat is not the enemy of health. It is a miraculous, life-giving grain that literally built human civilization. Number 4. Sunflower seed, the indigenous sun gift. Long before European settlers arrived in the Americas, indigenous tribes revered the sunflower. They saw it as a sacred gift from the Creator, a plant that faithfully tracked the sun across the sky and captured its life-giving energy. They used every part of the plant, pressing the seeds for ancient medicine and grinding them for sustained energy on long hunts. But here is what most people miss. Today, we treat sunflower seeds as a cheap baseball snack, spitting the shells into the dirt. Modern science has caught up to reveal that these tiny seeds are a profound clinical intervention for systemic inflammation. They are one of the highest natural sources of vitamin E, a fat-soluble antioxidant that operates at the cellular level to protect your cell membranes from oxidative stress and environmental toxins. Clinical trials have shown that the specific protein structures and healthy fats in sunflower seeds actively lower markers of inflammation in the bloodstream. Traditionally, they were ground into rich pastes or eaten raw to preserve their delicate oils. The sunflower seed is not just a pastime snack. It is a genuine healing defender of your cardiovascular system. Number 5. Pumpkin seed, the discarded autumn miracle. Every autumn, millions of people carve pumpkins and scoop out the seeds, throwing them directly into the trash. Yet, for ancient healers across the Americas, the pumpkin seed was a highly prized medical treatment, used specifically for vitality and to cleanse the body of internal parasites. But here is what most people miss. Those slippery little seeds you wash down the drain contain a staggering concentration of easily digestible protein and essential minerals. Modern science has finally caught up to validate these ancient practices. Clinical trials have proven that pumpkin seeds are incredibly rich in bioavailable zinc and magnesium. At the molecular level, these elements are crucial for hormone regulation, deep restorative sleep, and immune defense. Furthermore, researchers have identified specific antimicrobial and antiparasitic compounds in the seeds that gently cleanse the digestive tract without the harsh side effects of pharmaceutical drugs. Traditionally, they were gently roasted or cold-pressed for their dark, emerald green oil. We throw them away in October, completely forgetting that they are a sacred prescription for cellular health and a miraculous source of clean, plant-based power. Number 6. Lentils, the ancient survival sphere. If you want to understand the true value of food in the ancient world, look at the book of Genesis. Esau famously traded his entire birthright, his entire inheritance and future, for a single, steaming bowl of red lentil stew. For thousands of years, the lentil has been the foundational protein for empires across the Middle East and the Mediterranean. But here is what most people miss. We look at lentils as cheap pantry filler, something to stretch a grocery budget. Modern